Mate, another thing I have recently started using of yours, and only recently, is the FLOATLINE. But I see Mecca, you mentioned him before, and maybe is Antoine using it as well?
Yeah, it pretty much. What happened? Mika is definitely one that was my ambassador diver there on the island, and they do a lot of free diving for doggies and what's that silverfish called again? Wahoo. And so what happened is, and also yellowfin tuna, and some of these creatures they kill the rope. So what happened is there's quite a few very, very good float lines out there, but I just saw a niche in the market and I looked at it because a lot of them drag, they have a dipping thing, and also like your PVC ones, they're absolutely useless. They're good if you have no coral reef around and they won't get cut. And I suppose they float and they work well, but as soon as they get a nick in them, they're useless. So what happened is I sourced an Australian rope. It's made right here. So it's a really high-end UV stable rope and it's this one right here.
Yep.
And now the boys all on the island, there's not many of them diving there. Maybe I'm making up about 8 or 9 of them, give or take, maybe a bit more. And pretty much all of them are using my float line. So to me, it's an honor, and I don't want to knock other people. They used to dive with international brand names, and now everyone is using my one. So what makes our float line, I suppose, unique, especially the fact that it floats, which is a big help. And it comes with its braking system. So I used to work a bit as a tree lobber, and when it's hard to explain, when you walk along branches, it's hard to explain, but you use a prospect and you actually move along. So you can keep your weight and your balance. I can't explain it, but basically it's a very simple thing. It's like a little lanyard that you make up. And I've used this. I'm just going to show you. So it's like a piece of rope here. So you can pull a boat out with that rope, by the way. And that rope just, if you hold your fingers on the side, you can slide this up and down. So this is attached to your float. So as your fish run, instead of trying to pull, you use your brake.
Yeah.
And it's easy. So there's nothing that can go wrong with it. Unlike some of these, you need an engineering degree to use their brake systems because it's that technical.
Yeah.
This is simple. I don't want to say idiot can use it, but I always think make things as simple as possible. The more simple it is, the less can go wrong. And this is attached. So as the fish run, it will just yank back and it stops it. It can't. And then it can run again and you just push it forward and then it just yanks again.
Yeah.
It's simple. Listen, I didn't invent this. I've used this when I did tree walking. So all the arborists out there will go, hey, Bert, you didn't come up with it. We've used it forever. Yes, you have. That's where it comes from. So a lot of our gear are based on aspects of my life. If I was a muley fisherman, commercial diver, walking around on trees and cutting trees down, whatever.
Yeah.
You learn as you go along from a lot of blokes. And all I've done is to take all this knowledge and I shared it into our products. And then obviously we have really, really heavy duty
shark clips,
tuna clips on it. They're just crazy. Personally, I think it's overkill, but I rather overkill and it's got stainless steel. It's all 316 stainless steel. I give it with our float lines. You don't have to use it. I prefer diving without them and just wiring direct into it. One less thing to go wrong. But if you traditionally use them and you want the best, this is the best attached to it. But you could just use it and click it onto another part of your dive gear and use it elsewhere. So it comes with that, and it also has a lanyard. So, for instance, with Mick and the boys, sometimes they have to carry their fish a bit. So I've made it so that you can put your hand over here, so you tie your fish to here, and then your rope and your fish is on the same, and you can carry it over your shoulder.
Yep.
And then also in the center of it, it comes with its own little lanyard
for keeping
that
it nice
just keeps it all together like that.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
It's pretty simple, but a lot of thought has gone into it, and it was a progression thing. A lot of feedback, especially from Mika. Him and Antoine probably gave me the most of my feedback through it. And the last one that I'm sort of really excited about and happy is that a friend of mine, 2 friends of mine, actually went, Sebastian and Dwayne, they went over to Vanuatu, the islands, and They dived with some amazing guys over there. It sounds wonderful. It's just an amazing spot. But one of the locals is a commercial spear fisherman. And when Sebastian left, he gave this fellow my rope, or his rope, but my rope that I made. And I'm so proud of it. It's unfortunately, most type of people, they live such a basic existence. They don't have social media, so I can't communicate with this fellow, but I would love to know what he gets on it. So I'm quite excited. I'll have to go and have a look. We'll have to do a trip there and go and have a look.
I'd love to get over there. Jeepers, it's a beautiful part of the world. I've been watching a few videos around lately, like Ollie Craig. I know you don't watch a lot of YouTube.
No, I don't, mate.
He did a Fiji couple of videos and then a couple in the Solomon Islands, and I'm just like, I got to make some time to get out and see some of the Pacific Islands. Just like they're such amazing locations. Like the cultures are distinct, the water is crazy and beautiful, and there's just so much access to like big fish. It looks pretty cool. With your float line, Bert, and like Mecca's chasing Dogtooth up there. What does his setup look like? Do you know? Like what's he using?
Basically, they deal with I think 2 or 3 atmospheric float, just a very basic one. Not the most expensive, not the cheapest, but they're very particular about it. And what I've learned from the boys over there is on his boat, you're only allowed to use the same floats, a similar float, because I have dived with him and I brought my own float. And being a different float, that stuffed up the hole. Because when floats is underwater, they have to be same and then they behave the same. So float line the same, it's your life depending on it. So keep gear all similar and it works. So good float. And then they dive with a bunkie, so with a spectra cord inside it to give you that stretch, obviously float line. And then a breakaway rig, so obviously after you shoot the fish, you keep your spear gun and it runs to the float. So then you chase your float if it goes down and grab the float, and then you do the brake system and bring the fish hopefully up. And if you've got a good mate, he can swim down and shoot it again if necessary. So that's their rig. And that's what I'm saying is with that, what was nice is the first trip I did over there, it was a cluster because 3 different rows, floats different. What a bloody mess. If it was my boat, I think I'll be honest and say, listen, guys, 1 float in the water, we spearfish with 1 gun. This is just going to kill someone. It's just too dangerous. But what I'm trying to get at is, how do you learn all these things? It takes time, and a lot of time you do these trips and you don't think of it. You don't go, oh, what's your mate taking? Yeah, check what he's doing, because you're going to be equal in the water. And if the floats float next to each other, the float lines behave the same, there is no real danger. But if you have all these different loops and things going around, that's it. You spend half an hour to 45 minutes after you shoot a fish to make up a mess, to clean it up. And you've just wasted, how much is that trip costing you? Thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And you're sitting on a boat doing a crow's nest. It's just being silly, It's like, it makes no sense. But somehow people don't share this knowledge, I think, because they're embarrassed, because they stuff up all the time. But I'm good at stuff up, but I do learn from it.
Yeah. I think that's the main thing too. And obviously, like if you see some opportunities for better gear, like your float line's kind of, definitely fulfilling a bit of a need there. And it's tough. It's Australian made. It's floating, and you've got it all rigged up, so it's kind of purpose made. And there's not a lot else people would have to do to it, other than maybe take 1 or 2 items off if that's their preference. So I mean, that's pretty handy.